Hello, travelers. Tara here. I think it's been a minute since you guys have seen me. Um, Subscribe to the channel because that's going to notify you. Well, sometimes it does. YouTube is kind of funny that way, so that you'll be notified. Because sometimes when I do like the monthly elementals, I schedule those so they don't cross post to like LinkedIn or Tumblr or something of that nature. So you might miss out on them. So if you subscribe to the channel, you'll be able to get notified when those things are posted. Today we're going to be doing a reading on the full moon, which is occurring today, give or take a few days, depending on where you live. And this full moon is going to be falling at 27 degrees Sagittarius. So basically, if you have your chart, you want to look between 22 and 27 degrees. That's going to be off a little bit, that 27, depending on where you're located on the globe. So between 22 and 27 degrees of Sagittarius. But this is going to be these next few weeks, as a matter of fact, leading up into August and the whole month of July, it's going to be very, very active astrologically. Um, as this full moon is occurring, which is today, that's our date, June 17th, the full moon in Sagittarius, it is also going to be conjuncting Jupiter at 18 degrees Sagittarius, Jupiter being in his ruling sign. But at the same time, Jupiter and the full moon are going to kind of be squaring Neptune, which is located at 18 degrees Pisces, right? And then on top of that, Saturn at 18 degrees Capricorn will be sextiling Neptune at 18 degrees Pisces. And in addition to that, we have Mercury, Mars, and the South Node all making aspects to Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune and opposing Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node in Capricorn. So there's a lot of uh, astrological energy happening. Now, we are in July, it's June 17th. On June 7th, Mercury is going to station retrograde at 4 degrees Leo. He will actually turn retrograde on July 18th. However, 5 days before that, we're going to have a total solar eclipse. And that eclipse is going to be falling at, one second, I've got my document open here. That eclipse is going to be falling at 10 degrees Cancer, I want to say 42 minutes. Let me make sure of that. Yes, July 2nd, 10 degrees Cancer, 42 minutes. Now, because this eclipse is cutting across the Cancer Capricorn axis, this is going to be something to do with home and family versus work, reputation, uh, success, ambition, those kinds of things. Now, keep in mind that eclipses occur in pairs. So, following that, 2 weeks later, around July 16th, our lunar eclipse will fall at 24 degrees Capricorn, 1 minute. So, please grab your charts, those of you who have them. Find 10 degrees of Cancer and 24 degrees Capricorn. And what you can do is connect this back to the year 2000. Eclipses basically have a 19-year cycle. So we have a Mercury retrograde falling right between two eclipses, okay? So there's a lot of powerful astrological energy that is happening. I cannot look at everybody's thing. I can't tell you what's going to happen unless I have your chart. You can get a reading. I do have a transit tutorial there. I can walk you through the steps. We look at the chart together. That is conducted by phone. If you are interested, you can click on I know my fingers are all discolored because I've been making incense. You can click on the eye in the right-hand corner. That will take you directly over. So what we're going to do, however, is we're going to try to look at this full moon energy in Sagittarius. Um, let's say, what's today, the 17th, so a 2 week time frame. That's 14 days. So what is that? That's like July. That'll put us roughly around July, around the end of the month. Okay. Now remember that Mercury retrograde uh, has like a 6 to 8 week period. You have the pre-shadow phase, which is a couple of weeks before Mercury starts to slow down. Then we go through the actual retrograde phase, and that retrograde phase is going to be from um, July 7th to August 1st. Okay, and then there's also going to be a grand square happening the very next day. So, so really, the skies are very, very active. But as I'm going to say to you, I was talking to one of my website members, a friend. We had a long conversation a few days ago, and she's like, she's wanting to do some things. And she's like, but I got the Mercury retrograde and the full moon and the eclipse and all of that's going to be putting in my chart. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't want people to, the takeaway to be that you should not do something if the stars are doing something or not doing something. I don't know if that makes any sense, right? So, in other words, don't stop living your life and focusing or doing those things that you want to do just because the stars are doing something or not doing something, okay? Because basically, you can take the energy of this Mercury retrograde and listen to your inner voice. Because all of the other outside information that's going to be coming in is going to be confusing, or you just may not get it at all. You know what I'm saying? So listen to your inner voice, quiet all of the white noise coming from outside, and go back over some things. Look over some things. If there's something that you are wanting to do, maybe there's something you started but you had to put away, due to life circumstances. Now will be the time to drag that out and dust it off. So anytime a planet is in retrograde, it doesn't matter what planet it is, you want to rework, revisit, revise, review, um, reconsider, replan, recalculate. You want to do all of those things. So any word that you can stick the prefix re in front of, that's what you want to be doing based upon whatever it is you got going on in your life. So with that, because all of a sudden everything was at a standstill with the VA for me, and then suddenly 3 days ago it's just taken off, and so I'm awaiting word. Now I think it's quite interesting because I am heavily influenced by Mercury. I'm a Virgo sun and a Gemini moon, and both of those signs are ruled by Mercury. So I'm heavily influenced by a Mercury retrograde, but I have learned over the years that to kind of just sit with that energy. Do I have trouble with electronics? Yes. As a matter of fact, started last week. Every time I went someplace, I went to the bank to do some business, they couldn't get the stuff done. I just got one of my computers fixed. It's not working right. It keeps shutting down. My phone, I had to get a new device because it broke down. So my AC went out of my car. So, so I've learned to kind of understand what my limitations are, but that doesn't mean I still can't get stuff done. Okay, I just have to be a little bit smarter, work a little bit harder, and take my time doing it. So with that being said, we're going to lay 9 cards, and I'm using the Radiant White today because I think that this deck will come across to more people. As I always tell you, this is a general reading. It will not resonate with everyone. In order to do that requires a personal reading where I meditate on your birth date and your sun sign only, and that of anybody you want to include in the reading, birth date and sun sign with their name. And then I can meditate on those energies and give you more specific information as it relates to your particular situation. Click on that eye. I've got lots of reading packages. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and lay the 9 cards. Put one more rifle on these, and we'll get started with the reading. Website members, I'm going to be posting an article, if not today, then by tomorrow. It's a short article that's going to be talking about those other aspects of Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Neptune, Saturn, all of those different aspects. Okay? And then I'll be coming back in a little bit to give an eclipse reading. All right? So here we go. The Hermit. Okay. Whoa. The Emperor. The Ace of Pentacles. Hmm. The Knight of Swords. Here's our Mercury energy. One of them. We also have a kind of a Mercury energy here because that represents Virgo. Huh. The Seven of Swords. The Two of Wands. Now, this is quite interesting. And I'm telling you right now, this is kind of speaking to me for some of you about the Mercury retrograde. There's a decision, and the information coming in is, I think, either going to be rather confusing or it may even be false. But nevertheless, it's going to require some kind of action or decision be made. Sometimes you got to make decisions without having all of the information. Sometimes you do. The Hierophant. The Two of Swords. So now I have two twos. And I think for some of you, you may be inclined to kind of want to fight this out. Um, let's just take a look and see what that means. The Magician. There's our Mercury card. Well, now what is our advice and what is over the whole reading? The Queen of Swords. So, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana. Wow, look at that. 1, 2, 3 swords, a wands, and a pentacle card. Isn't that something? And in the reading itself, I only have one court card. Now, there's several things that are coming out for me. This Hierophant, it's about the higher knowledge. So this could be the idea of sometimes this person will show up like a counselor or somebody that you can seek advice from. It can deal with universities. But it is also about doing, quote unquote, the right thing. And it is also about contract sales and negotiations. Why? Because it speaks to the sign of Taurus. Taurus rules the second house. The second house is about not only your personal finances, not those finances you have with the spouse or with the live-in or that you've invested in with a company or something like that or with a bank. This is about your own personal finances. And it is also, more importantly though, it is about your value system. What is more precious than money or gold? Are you getting out of something what you are putting in? Is it equal in value? Do you honor yourself? Do you respect yourself? If so, are you giving yourself the worth that you should? Why? Because money and love equate are two sides of a different coin. So this is not necessarily about someone else loving you. This is about how do you feel about yourself, right? It also represents the idea of building something. Taurus, Capricorn are builder signs, okay? Um, Taurus likes the finer things in life. So this is about, it's that Venusian energy, beautiful surroundings, beautiful clothes, having security and stability. And Capricorn is about your highest ideal or expression, okay? The two twos here tell me that there's some kind of obstacle or opposition. There is definitely a decision that needs to be made. For some of you, this could be about some kind of partnership, be it a marriage or an engagement or simply a contractual issue. Think of it this way. In business, when you go into business, you have a business partner. In effect, you two are married to each other, right? There's a contract that you go to the lawyers and you sign it up, you draw it up legally, you go down to the courthouse, you file those articles in incorporation, yada yada yada, and now both of you guys are on the hook for something. One of you screws up, the other one gets taken down, right? So it's not always about marriage or love. There are no cups here. So I feel for some of you, This is kind of, it's not necessarily a head versus heart kind of a thing. Um, but I do feel for some of you that this is, whatever this thing is, it will affect you on the home front, so to speak. Now, this is a curious energy here. This is earth and fire. That's a curious energy. And so, what this tells me is that something has been static or still. Maybe some of you have been studying, reading, learning up on something, and preparing to move forward with something. Here is the Emperor. The Emperor can represent the influence of a strong male. He will typically be like a mentor or a father figure. It can be. I've seen him show up when he represents someone who's in uh, the business of philanthropy, like that. Can be an entrepreneur. May have some kind of military background. May be a soldier, police officer. He's like a general, though. Okay. So in other words, this is the guy that gives all of the instructions, and then everybody else is supposed to follow along with him. Now, male or female, you can in effect embody your masculine energies as well. So I'm not exactly sure who I'm talking about at the moment. I'll get into this more as I go along. But Mars, he represents the energy of Mars. And I was just telling you that Mars and Mercury and the South Node and all those things are going to be in play here. Mars can also bring speed and heat and anger and fight, but it is about focus and determination. So the emperor didn't become the emperor by being a wimp, right? And shying away from a fight, right? But he also doesn't stay the emperor by making rash decisions and not being strategic and tactical in his plans. He understands that he's got to give up something to get something. Makes sense? So I feel that for some of you, some kind of opportunity has come to you. This is could be a financial opportunity, but it could also be an opportunity to take a new direction or to do something a different way. But then I feel that some news comes. For some reason, there's kind of a hesitancy. Do I move forward or do I not move forward? Now, twos represent dualities. This is a full moon, and a lot of times what will happen in a full moon, this is when the sun sits opposite the moon in the sky, right? So if the full moon's going to fall in Sagittarius, that means that the sun is in Gemini, right? Gemini is about neighborhoods, communities, early childhood education, so from pre-K to high school. This could be about neighbors. It could be your neighborhood. It rules contracts, sales, negotiations, text messages, faxes, emails, the media in general. So this is print. This can be documents and contracts, perhaps with the legal aspect here, because sometimes I've seen these two guys show up like judges, right? Sometimes he can represent a bank. Just depends. And it is the seven that is here. Now, the Seven of Swords is a tricky kind of an energy because sometimes the seven can be the idea that someone is deceiving you. Maybe somebody's lying. Maybe you're lying. This is, to me, though, it's still about being of two minds about something. I'm going to take these five swords and go this way. Sometimes this card can be about rushing around. This card will show up when you're rushing around and you're not paying close attention to the details that you need to, and you end up making mistakes or, in effect, kind of self sabotaging yourself. Um, this seven can also be about spying and looking into things that really are not your business. I have also seen this card show up when it indicates some kind of home move. That's a 14th century interpretation. Maybe some of you are presented with something where you got to move back home for whatever reason. Maybe it's something to do with your father. I don't know. And then this Two of Swords underneath. So what I find to be most interesting is here's the Seven of Swords with the Knight. This gives me Eight Swords. Eight Swords says that you feel like you're in a tricky situation. You can't get yourself out of it, right? But this card says some news is going to come in or some action is going to have to be taken. You're going to have to move. In other words, you're going to have to make a decision or make a move without having the full information. Full moons are like D-Day. Something has to be done, but you don't have all of the information that you need. Okay, now keep in mind that we also have eclipses. You don't know how that's going to work out. We've got the Mercury retrograde. You don't know how the hell that's going to work out. So there's a lot of things at play here. There's Two of Swords. From the 7 to the 2 tells me that there's 5 swords missing. Now, 5 swords can mean that there's arguments, that there's fights, there's that Martian energy. But sometimes the 5 swords say, you have to stand up for yourself in a dispute. If somebody's maligning you, gossip, they're talking bad about you behind your back, they're trying to undermine you, sometimes you have to stand up for yourself in a dispute. And what's going to be said, ain't nobody going to like it. But it's really not about what they like. It's about how much do you value yourself. And what is that worth to you? And how long are you going to stay in that situation? And there's 2 keys here. So this tells me that there's something else here. You don't see it, so therefore you don't know what to do. But for me, this card, her left eye is not covered. So this says that you are already aware of the facts and circumstances. You're just not exactly sure what you should do about it. And here comes the Magician, that Mercury card. And this is a 3 of Swords. So I get that sometimes the Knight of Swords can be just the idea that information comes in fast and quick, and you got to move on it, right? And then sometimes that Knight of Swords can be that information that comes in that just like, you're like, what the F is happening? It can be painful news or a startling news. But then I have these 2 ones here. Something most definitely is trying to change. Why? That's a 5. Fives always bring changes in circumstances. This could be a change in financial situation. It could be you got to change your damn bank. I don't know. Um, it could be you got to change your lifestyle. You got to line it up to be more in tune to who you are integrally deep down at a soul level. But here's this Magician. The Magician is kind of a funny card because the Magician represents the energy as above, so below. So whatever you're thinking, whatever ideas you have going on, floating around out there, you want to be extremely cautious about that because you can manifest it down on the 3rd dimensional level. So this is about getting control over your thoughts, not being too emotional, but not being like a cold bitch either, or a jerky asshole. Okay, right? And sometimes the Magician can be that idea of somebody who's pretending that they can do a lot of things, but they really can't. Like the Emperor has no clothes. And what I find to be most interesting is this triangle of the Emperor, the Hierophant, and the Magician. That's 3 major arcana cards. So something is happening here. But the Magician also positively says that if you can get a hold of your thoughts and put them together in a logical, rational, precise manner, you can change the energy and you can change the circumstances. Sometimes the Magician is about learning something. So we've got these 2 cards of, let's say, learning or skills or abilities here. And then over all of it is the Queen of Swords. She would represent an air sign female, Gemini, Libra, and or Aquarius. And if not those things, then what she represents is somebody who, first of all, is somebody that you can absolutely go to, and she's going to give you her best rational, logical advice, objective. So she can be a very, very good friend, but she can also be a formidable enemy if she catches you lying to her. All right, see, she's inviting in the truth, but she's also letting you know with that sword up, my sword's at rest. I'm going to remain open to hear what you say. I'm going to listen to your ideas, what you're going to say. But if yo, what's coming out of your mouth is some bullshit, she'll chop your head off. So a lot of times she can represent a mediator, a judge, a lawyer, a writer. She can be a doctor, a dentist, a soldier herself. She can be an editor, anything where there are sharp tools used, or she can be a scientist, or where there is extreme knowledge. But what she represents more than anything is this idea of truth and balance, harmony, diplomacy, and tact. Underneath her, though, is this Queen of Cups. And I find that to be interesting. So, first thing I want to do, I tell you what, I love reading cards. They just be telling me all kinds of things. First thing I want to do, I'm going to take a look at the Ace, the Seven of Swords, the Two of Wands, and the Two of Swords as they relate to these four major arcana cards. I can't look at this Knight of Swords. So this Knight of Swords, if it's not a message or an event, and that's the way they always come up, then what we're dealing with is a younger air sign individual, somebody who wants to make trouble or can cause trouble or just be a negative naysayer or somebody who literally may be trying to talk bad about you behind your back. Somebody who's doing something they ain't damn supposed to be doing. And maybe this is you determining whether what's happening is real or what you think it is as this person leaves the scene. You see, because everybody's kind of focused this way, but here somebody's looking back over their shoulder. Why? They're of two minds about something. See those two swords? There's a fight. There's a disagreement over something. Do I choose to engage in this or do I just go on and do whatever the hell it is I'm going to do? Right? Do I allow the planetary energies to discombobulate me and let the messages screw me up? Because sometimes this card is about having faith. Or do I just go on and step out on faith and do what I'm going to do? Because really, I got all the skills that I need to get it done. This may be about going it alone. This is the ego, singularity, who I am. You are the co-creator of your own experience in life. So let's take a look. We're going to start with this Ace of Coins here. I love the Ace of Pentacles. Aces represent great power and opportunity, but you know, like I said, if you got a whole bunch of white noise coming at you, you may miss out on it. Okay, the Ace of Pentacles with three sword cards. Not the Three of Swords, even though that Three of Swords is implied here. And the Three of Swords is not always about the pain of breakup or love. It's just, it's just the pain of a relationship, knowing that you've got to separate. So let's say, for instance, you've been at a job for 15 years and you've been busting your ass and trying to work your way up through the ranks. And then suddenly, all of a sudden something occurs at work and you realize, you know what, I got to get the hell out of here. There's that pain of that, right? Next to Three Swords cards, it may be implying that you have taken on more than you can handle, and you are asked to take one step at a time. Remember, I said sometimes this card can be about rushing around and not paying to the details. Sometimes it can be the idea of running away from a fight, when you really should be standing up against whoever this is, trying to bring some havoc that they shouldn't be doing. Okay? Seven of Swords. I guess, you know, I can tell you when I turned 50, um, one day I just kind of woke up and I was like, I've lived half a century and I don't have to do shit I don't want to do if it ain't in my best interest. Make sense? And I don't have to give an explanation to anybody. Okay, nothing about the Seven of Swords next to any of this. So let me give you, I'm going to read to you what this seven, all the meanings of the sevens. Okay? Sevens represent a time of questioning yourself in solitude, with the focus on adjustments and ill-conceived plans. This is it, man. Maybe you got to go back over that crap again, right? You are asked to be wary of fanciful promises and should look carefully at any situation before making adjustments. You need to remain concentrated and focused at this time and should keep distractions to a minimum. It often depicts the trickster and may indicate that things may not work out as planned or expected. You are asked to show some tenacity and boldness in action to bring about your desired results. You are encouraged to dare to be bold and brave and take risks at this time. And maybe some of you are risk averse. Taurus and Virgos are risk averse. We don't like a lot of risk. That's the honest to God's truth. Can I afford it? What is it going to cost me? One of those things. Okay. It may also be implying that you are carrying a heavy load or burden upon your shoulders and you are asked to delegate tasks and responsibilities to others and not take on others' responsibilities for them, as this denies them the opportunity to learn the lessons of their own actions in regards to cause and effect. What is the value in that? Why are you trying to negate somebody's karma? That's interference, and you shouldn't do that. It may indicate that dealings may be dishonest or not straightforward and direct. It brings a message to be particularly aware of all proceedings and remain cautious. Remember what I'm telling you, you're not going to have all of the information. So what do you do in a situation like that? Well, you trust what your intuition is telling you, because I think some of you already know what you need to do. You're just unsure about whether you should do it. Well, like I was telling my friend on the phone the other day, you can wait around and do that, but if it reaches that crisis point, the universe is going to say, you know what? I'm just going to have to fuck this up for you and just make you move. And you may not end up liking the results of that. So with careful planning, with careful reconsideration, looking at all of the facts and circumstances, and separating out your ego and your fear from what your intuition is telling you, you really can come through this. This implies that we or others may feel obligated to behave in ways that are not direct, but which we accept, hoping that the end will justify the means. Well, if I just hang around a little bit longer, the person's going to come around and see my way of thinking, and everything's okay. You can do that. It can carry a message that something you thought lost will be returned to you. This may include the rekindling of friendships and old ties. Well, I don't know. Maybe somebody comes back. I don't know. Then you need to, on a Mercury retrograde, old lovers and situations always come back. Now, I'm not telling you to get with that person. You want to get with them and have the hot sex with you, but they're not going to stick around. Okay? That's a universe's test to say, remember why y'all broke up? Remember why you broke up? And you've been saying, man, I'm never going to do that again. That person hurt me so bad. And then a person shows up, calls you out of the blue, and there you are, knocking boots, making ugly faces. Right? And then a person leaves again. But you always have a choice. That person's not going to stick around. So if you just want to jump in bed with that person and have hot sex, do that. But don't become attached to it. Now, if this is a business thing, you can forget going out getting any new customers under this Mercury retrograde. Go back and visit those old ones. Grab your book, Who Turned You Down. Go back and look at those people, and you'll be able to pick up some clients and stay steady. Revise, rework, revisit, review. Go back over the old stuff. This can suggest that your plans are not working out as planned, so look for an alternative. If your plan does not work out, you should not look to place blame on others, but rather look to yourself for the reasons of the failure. It may also indicate that the most likely cause of failure is hasty actions and a lack of focus and concentration. Because something comes in right here that just kind of throws everything off. And some people just like to hide behind and don't want to face the truth of it. Well, you can do that too. It's a choice. It may be a warning. It may be warning you that your plans will not work out at this time due to circumstances beyond your control. You may need to look to alternative options or means. It tells of upset plans and postponements, delays and cancellations. It is as though everything is going wrong around you at the moment. Well, that's the universe's way of asking you to take a good hard look at not only what you're doing, but what are you putting into it and what are you getting out of it. It implies stealth around someone who attempts to outsmart destiny and evade the consequences of their wrongdoing. It tells of the possibility of tension, arguments, disagreements, and misunderstandings within a current relationship. It may also imply that someone is spying or delving into issues that are not their business. Can I say that? It may be warning you to be honest and upfront in all of your dealings. Otherwise, you will be caught out, and this will have detrimental effects on many levels. It may be implying that you may be inclined to take flight from a situation rather than to face up to the responsibility and action to find a solution. It can also tell of unexpected surprise and opportunities. That's that two minds. I just get the sense that some of you are on the fence about making a decision. Two of Wands. Two of Wands. Let's see if it tells us anything being next to, well, funny. With the Emperor. Wait a minute. It is a message that opportunities are about. That's not right. That should be the Ace. Next to the Seven of Swords, it is an indication that unnecessary disturbances over insignificant and unnecessary situations may take place in the very near future. The message is to sort out any problems as soon as they arrive. Remain calm. That's what you got to do. Remain stalwart and remain calm. Remain grounded. Trust what you know to be right and right for yourself and honest in your dealings. Two of Swords. I was reading something, but it's absolutely it's incorrect. I think I copied it down wrong. Two of Swords. Now, two twos, as I said, tell of a commitment or an engagement. There it is. An engagement can be somebody offering you a job. Come, fly up here and do this job interview. Right? So don't always assume that there's a relationship. There's always a relationship. Two twos say harmonious changes in communications and the need to make a choice. We see it right here. And maybe you're dealing with somebody who lollygagging and keep making excuses, or is which is an odd energy for the Emperor, because typically they know exactly what they want to do. Maybe they're telling you one thing but showing you another. And I always say, watch what people show you, not what they tell you. So let's see, what cards do I want to? First thing, I'm going to take these La Vida Sibilas, and I'm going to look at the Seven of Swords that's right in the center. The Eight of Swords. I just feel that some of you feel like you are stuck and you cannot get out. But that's not true. You have a choice. You do have a choice. I'm actually going to use these Sibilas all together, because to me this reads almost like a business opportunity. But there's some other underlying familial thing, romantic thing, infatuation thing, whatever you want to call it, sexual thing, whatever you want to call it. Bambino. L'amante female. And the Speranza. Now, that's interesting. Falling on a card to say, you know what, your plans may not work out, or somebody may be lying to you, or whatever deal you're going into, you know what I'm saying? This could be simply the idea of something new coming. L'amante, female. She typically represents the lover, and whether this is same-sex or heterosexual, but you can simply look at that if this is not a romance relationship. You can simply look at this as somebody who does not express their feelings in the manner that they should. Here is the Speranza. I hope everything's going to turn out all right, that I can trust this person, that I'm going to go ahead and keep doing what I'm going to do, and everything's going to work out fine. But speranza can also be fear. And what I find to be most interesting is that these two figures on the card are sitting facing the other way. Now, what I want to look at, now I don't know, maybe this is about some of you who are afraid that there's a new female in the picture. I don't know. Maybe it is a new female. Maybe it's a work rival. Maybe it is a love rival. Uh, I don't know. There's definitely some kind of argument here. Let's see what this Hierophant has to say. Leggerezza. Now, remember I was talking to you about tact and diplomacy? That's what this card, the true meaning of it, is about somebody's changing sensitivity to something. It's about tact and diplomacy. Now, sometimes this card comes out as sex. What do we know about relationships with sexual components to them? So this could be like an ex. This could be the baby daddy. This could be alimony, child support, property, joint bank accounts. But there's something about it that represents yours as well, going into partnership or having a commitment with someone. Diplomacy and tact. Well, this says that there's a complete and utter separation. So there's some kind of breakup here. Be this romantic, marriage, business, something's coming to an end. But I think tact and diplomacy may get you through because it can, if something has ended, you can positively go back and quote unquote renegotiate. Hmm? Maybe you don't know what to say right now. Maybe you should write it out. This is Two of Swords. Most definitely. There is a third party involved in this. And maybe what this is telling you is that you don't even see that. Maybe you're not aware of it. You just maybe kind of know something is going on underneath the surface. This card is telling me to tell you to trust what your intuition is. It very well could be that you have a female rival, be she in a romantic relationship or a work situation. Here is the sacerdote. So again, it's like another hierophant here. So this is not only about a counselor or a priest, but it can also be the single man, the faith that I'm telling you to have. But then here is the disgrazia, which is like the tower card, which says that there's extreme disgrace and shame from this. Look, the damn house is on fire. This could be that somebody has come in and out of the blue, and I don't think this shit was out of the blue. I think they've been plotting it and planning it for some time to completely undermine you and whatever this thing is about. Whatever, I mean, it's this idea that you're going to have to get back in there and fight. And whether you want to fight over her or what the situation is, that's up to you, right? What is it worth you to rehash old shit? But you may have to get in there and fight to reinstate your own self-esteem or value or take up for your own personal finances. See what I'm saying? The Giovani Fanciulla. stanza and the consolante sorpresa. Now, this is attraction to the young girl, but this to me always represents the idea of that independent woman. She kind of reminds me of the Nine of Coins lady, right? And so maybe this is about a return to who you were before this, if not chronologically younger than, the stanza. This is the card of communication. But look, there's nobody in the room. So we see that some message or news comes in. Maybe it comes in about this person. Maybe this is a kid. Remember, I said it could be somebody younger. Well, it ain't exactly what I wanted to hear, but okay. See what I mean? I want to pull cards on that, the Giovanni Fanciulla, and this odd ass set of three cards. Because ultimately, only you are in command of your own circumstances. It may feel or appear that somebody else has all of the control, maybe. They may be in charge of the circumstances or at the moment, but you can do anything. I want to look at the Giovanni Fanciulla first. Nine of Wands, Queen of Wands, Jack of Wands. This is some kind of work thing for some of you. And whenever there's a jack next to a queen, it represents some kind of protection. So this individual could be the one who gives you that news or that information. And you're like, what in the hell? But they're doing it, even if it's not what you want to hear, they're giving you this information to help you. Because you do have an enemy here who might be trying to do some tricky shit under the covers. Under the cover of the full moon, the Mercury retrograde, and the eclipse. And I was just telling somebody the other day, when you're in a bad situation like this, particularly if it's at work, and you're just dealing with somebody that, no matter what you do, it ain't going to be good enough, uh, you're not getting the respect, you're not getting the kudos, you're not getting the promotion, you're not getting the recognition, you're not getting any of that crap that you know you should be getting because you busted. You be like the hardest worker. You like a James Brown of the office. James Brown was the hardest working man in show business, right? So, what are you going to do about that? Maybe you can get the person like calls you back in. Let's talk this out and let's try to renegotiate this. See that? But I'm telling you, they got something else planned for you. Okay? I wouldn't buy it. This is about trusting what your intuition is saying and using your intuition to sort truth from lies. What does he represent if not the truth? This could even be some kind of counselor that's with the person, right? Somebody who sits next to their side. Hmm? Let's take a look at this. Ten of Wands. Yeah, I've been carrying your water and chopping your wood all this damn time, and I ain't got shit to show for it. Queen of Diamonds. Wow. King of Spades. That's who I think this is. I think that's how these people are showing up. That's your rival. Maybe she holds the reins. Maybe she's your boss and signs your paycheck. Hmm? Maybe he's the counselor, the lawyer. Hmm? this is definitely a work issue in some way. Let's go to the cards. Something is changing. And go back, like I said, for the eclipses to 2000, the year 2000, around July 1st, 2000, what was happening for you then? Whatever was happening for you, this is a repeat of the same thing. Whether this occurred to you in the past in a love, romantic relationship, but now it's showing up in a work relationship. That's how you make the connections. It's two different situations, but the theme is the same. Make sense? 9. It represents a feeling of satisfaction and contentment that you are achieving your goals and you are happy with the process. You are pleased that success has come about without hurting anyone else, and you're going to be looking to start new challenges. All right. You like being part of a group and group activities, often in counseling or supportive role. Maybe that's what you've been doing, but you've been doing it for the wrong person. Remember, it's your value system. Friendly, sociable, charming, graceful, but is shrewdly evaluating everything and manipulating the situation to her best advantage. She has good taste and enjoys being surrounded by beauty and luxury. She enjoys being the center of attention, but is subject to rapidly changing moods that sometimes drive people away. Consequently, she can be lonely and full of self pity. It can also indicate that some of the problems that you are facing are within you. Okay, and this person, if this is not you, this is somebody who's having a strong influence on you. Here's this Jack. Symbolizes a young person, honest, reliable, hardworking, supportive, and sincere. This is somebody who's fond of you, but you have overlooked this individual because he or she is content to remain in the background. But this person will ultimately prove to be a very good friend who will remain long after those other fair weather friends have left. It says that there's somebody around you right now who really is a good friend, and you need to figure out who that is. Don't take that person for granted. They're going to come in handy. They're bringing you they've got some kind of protection. They got your back. Maybe you don't know who that is yet, but somebody's got your back. The 10 of Clubs. It relates to new beginnings. It says you're probably trying to plan a new direction, but you are reluctant to let go of the past. It says that the new direction will mark a major change, and only your enthusiasm and energy will ensure that whatever efforts you put in will pay off. This card usually will show up when there's confusion caused by your inability to separate your home and work lives. Now, I don't know if that's true or that's not true. But then we got these two. And maybe that speaks to her. You know what I'm saying? Maybe this person causing all the damn confusion because they got some shit going on at their house, so they come in. You know, in the military, we have saying shit rolls downhill. So they coming in dumping it on everybody else. Make sense? Queen of Diamonds. Passionate, demonstrative, and full of energy. Agile mind that can sum up everything at a glance. Quick to act and has potential to do well in business or any other field that attracts interest. A good friend who constantly motivates and inspires others. Aggressive and loud when hemmed in or restricted. Um, it says that you have the traits of this particular queen in your own makeup, that you need to be more decisive and less easily hurt, and choose a goal worthwhile for yourself. Now, here's this king of, I'm going to give you a second interpretation. This king of spades. Strong, powerful, intelligent, honest, loyal, ambitious, and practical. Okay, this can represent a strong male influence in your life. It can be a father, brother, husband, relative, or close friend. This card can also indicate that this is somebody who's been around you for a long time. And This person tries to be a good person, but tends to see everything in terms of right or wrong, and finds it hard to see other people's point of view because this person is convinced that their way is the right way. Well, sometimes that can be this energy, the know-it-all. I'm right, dogmatic, won't budge. Okay, now let's go to the second meanings of these. I have two queens. Two queens, gossip is mean. Somebody is trying to be all ugly. This says achievement can sometimes indicate a wealthy marriage or a sudden windfall. Dark haired, confident woman. Somebody who's popular and good hearted and playful. Typically, whenever the queen, always when a jack shows up next to a king or a queen, this represents some kind of support and protection that's happening for you. 10 of Wands, of clubs, says it's good luck with money and business success, and says that that a trip result taken now can result in a new friend or love interest. With this Queen of Diamonds, someone who is either fair-haired or fair-complected, with earth predominant, but can also indicate a gossip. But with this King of Spades, says this person can be ambitious and sometimes very, very self-serving. Now, I have 1, 2, 3 queens here. Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 court cards here. I have 1, 2, 3 women here. So in effect, this is kind of like a group of people. There's a lot of people being affected here. Okay, I don't know what else to tell you about this. This is quite an extraordinary reading. This to me almost reads like whatever belief that you've had about this person, you're finally going to see them for who they really are. That's really kind of what that says to me. I think these are two separate people. And I think you need to find out who this person is. And it may just be some kind of casual, offhand remark. I would pay attention. All right, here we go. Ooh, it's almost an hour long. Formulate your question for the angel answer card. Now, granted, even though there's no cups here, this could still be a marriage situation. You know, an ex situation, a fixing to be ex situation, a legal issue. But there's a profusion of wands here and a profusion of swords or clubs, I should say, and a profusion of swords. And this energy matches that energy. Yeah. And basically, I guess I could just look at all of these clubs about whatever your fire and your determination is. I just say don't be distracted. I think there's some shit that's gonna hit the fan. And sometimes when we say that shit hits the fan, people think it's something like really this big blowout, this major. And sometimes it can be, but sometimes shit will hit the fan. And if you're calm and cool and collected, you just watch it hit the fan, and then suddenly everything becomes clear to you. You are ready. I don't know what that means, but there you go. Let's read it. Sometimes it takes the shit hitting the fan for you to be like, oh, I need to get out of here. All of your past experiences have led to this moment. You have studied and grown spiritually in many ways. There is nothing more to do. You are ready to move forward and to embrace the person you know in your heart you are meant to be. The world is anxiously awaiting the contributions that following your life purpose will provide. You may have to put yourself first in this situation. It is time to do what is right for you. And that's the truth. And you can exit the stage gracefully, or you could exit the stage like you on a, what's one of them shows, uh, reality TV shows, fighting and cussing, that kind of thing. Cool, calm, collected, tactful, diplomatic, but standing in your own truth. That's what I have for you. And so I hope those messages help. I'll be back in, I don't know, a few days, maybe next week, to give you the eclipse reading, Mercury retrograde and eclipse. This was the full moon in Sagittarius. It is a fire moon, so don't get bent all out of shape. Okay. Um, until next time, namaste. Where's my little thingy? Oh, yeah, come visit me over here. Click right there. See ya. Bye.